If you're still tracking freelance income in a spreadsheet you last updated in March, that habit is quietly costing you real money. The IRS estimates the average sole proprietor underreports roughly 55% of income owed on Schedule C. That's from the most recent tax gap study covering 2014 through 2016, and it's the biggest compliance gap of any category they measure. Sloppy tracking doesn't just mean audit risk. It means you're missing the 72.5 cents per mile the IRS lets you deduct in 2026, you're forgetting the $47 Zoom charge in February, and you're walking into April owing thousands more than you should. So let's talk about the 4 tools that actually do what a $400 a month bookkeeper does for a fraction of the price, and which one fits which kind of freelancer. Quick context on me before we get into it. I cover taxes and retirement for self-employed workers, and I've personally filed enough messy 1099 years to know exactly where the wheels come off. It's almost never the big stuff. It's the $18 domain renewal you paid from a personal card in July that you'll never remember by April 14th. All right, the first tool, and honestly the one I think most solo freelancers should start with, is QuickBooks Solopreneur. This is the rebuilt version of what used to be QuickBooks Self-Employed, and Intuit relaunched it in 2024 specifically for one-person businesses that file a Schedule C. It runs about $20 a month, though they'll usually discount it to $10 for the first 3 months. What it actually does well, it connects to your bank and credit card, auto-categorizes transactions into the exact IRS Schedule C buckets, advertising, car and truck, office expense, all 20-something lines. And it estimates your quarterly taxes in real time based on your income so far. That last part matters because the IRS charges an underpayment penalty tied to the federal short-term rate plus 3%, which for most of 2025 put the effective penalty rate at 8%. Miss a quarterly payment by $2,000 and you're paying real interest on it. Now, is QuickBooks Solopreneur perfect for everyone? No. If you run inventory or you have contractors you pay and need to issue 1099 NECs to, you'll outgrow it fast. Your business model matters here. But for a writer, a designer, a consultant, a rideshare driver, a photographer, this is the default I'd recommend. The next one is where things get interesting because it's free. Wave Accounting. Wave was bought by H&R Block back in 2019, and the core accounting product, invoicing, expense tracking, bank connections, basic reports, costs $0. They make money on payment processing, 2.9% plus 60 cents per card transaction, and payroll add-ons. My take? If your freelance income is under about $40,000 a year and you don't need quarterly tax estimates baked in, Wave is genuinely the best deal in this category. I know a freelance illustrator in Portland who's used Wave for 6 years and has never paid them a dime because she gets paid by IE and check. Where Wave falls short is tax season. It won't hand you a clean Schedule C summary the way QuickBooks does, and it doesn't calculate self-employment tax, which is 15.3% on the first $184,500 of net earnings in 2026. That's the Social Security wage base the SSA just announced with the 2.8% COLA. So you're saving $240 a year on software, but you're doing more mental math in April. For some people, that trade is worth it. For others, it isn't. Now let's talk about the tool that changed how I personally handle receipts, which is Keeper. Keeper, sometimes still branded Keeper Tax, costs $20 a month or $192 a year. And it does one thing extremely well. It scans every transaction on your linked accounts and asks you, via text message, whether each ambiguous charge was a business expense. That's it. That's the whole magic. You get a text that says, "Was this $63 at Office Depot for work?" And you reply yes or no. Their internal data, which they've published on their site, claims the average user finds around $6,428 in missed deductions their first year. I can't independently verify that number for every user, but I'll tell you what I found personally. About $2,100 in expenses I would have absolutely forgotten. Mostly software subscriptions and client lunches. At a 22% federal bracket plus 15.3% self-employment tax, that's roughly $780 back in my pocket. Your bracket changes this math. Someone in the 12% bracket gets less back. Someone in the 32% bracket gets more. Keeper also files your return for you for an extra fee if you want, though I still use a human CPA for filing. Here's my honest opinion. Keeper is the tool I'd add second, on top of whatever your primary bookkeeping app is. It's a deduction finder, not a full accounting system. The fourth one is FreshBooks, and I'll be direct. FreshBooks is not for everyone, but if you invoice clients regularly, it's the best tool on this list. Pricing starts at $21 a month for the Lite plan, which caps you at 5 billable clients, and jumps to $38 a month for Plus, which is what most freelancers actually need. What justifies the price? The invoicing is genuinely the cleanest in the industry. It handles retainers, it tracks time by project, and this is the piece that matters for taxes. It categorizes every expense to Schedule C lines and generates a profit and loss statement your accountant can read in about 90 seconds. According to FreshBooks' own 2024 customer data, users get paid on average 11 days faster than manual invoicing. I believe that number because I've seen it in my own numbers. My average days to payment dropped from about 22 to 12 when I switched. If you're a consultant billing $150 an hour and you're getting paid 2 weeks faster, do that math on a $12,000 month. The cash flow difference alone pays for the software many times over. But if you're a rideshare driver who never sends an invoice, FreshBooks is overkill. Tool selection depends on how you actually earn. So which one? Here's what I'd do, and I'm not going to hedge on this. If you're earning under $40,000 in freelance income and you invoice rarely, use Wave plus a spreadsheet for quarterlies. If you're earning $40,000 to $150,000 and you're a solo Schedule C filer, use QuickBooks Solopreneur and add Keeper on top of it. If you invoice clients as your primary income model, consultants, agencies of one, coaches, use FreshBooks and add Keeper. That's the whole decision tree. 3 combinations based on how you actually make money. Your situation might have a wrinkle. Maybe you're an S-Corp already, maybe you have rental income mixed in. And in those cases, you're past the DIY tool tier and should be talking to an actual CPA who charges $150 to $400 an hour. One thing I want to flag before we wrap, because it's the mistake I see over and over. People buy the tool and then never actually reconcile it. Connecting your bank account isn't bookkeeping. You still have to spend 30 minutes a month, literally half an hour, reviewing categorizations, fixing the ones the software got wrong, and confirming your quarterly estimate. The IRS processed about 163 million individual returns in the 2024 filing season, according to their data book. And the ones that get flagged for correspondence audits are almost always the ones where the Schedule C numbers don't reconcile to the 1099s the IRS already has on file. The software helps you. It doesn't replace the 30 minutes. I'm not a licensed CPA or financial advisor. This is general education for freelancers, not personalized advice. If this was useful, subscribe. I put out one of these every week specifically for people who file their own 1099 income and are tired of guessing. And if there's a specific freelance tax or retirement question you want me to dig into, leave it in the comments and I'll work it into an upcoming video. Next week, I'm tackling a question I get constantly from freelancers with a W-2 side of their life. What to set up when you can't open a solo 401k because your day job already offers a plan. That one gets messy fast, and there's a right answer. This video may contain affiliate links. I only recommend tools I use personally.